Hello. Today I'll be making a video all about how to sleeve cards and which cards to sleeve and if your deck even needs to be sleeved at all. So here is an example of a fully sleeved deck. It's going to be the deck that I use at the tournament or at the event. It's fully sleeved and yeah. So this video won't be that long. I'll just be sleeving up a single deck, and yeah. So, a question I'm getting asked fairly a lot recently is which cards should you sleeve when making a deck? What decks need to be sleeved? Everything like that. And what's the best type of sleeve? So, I do have a policy when you make a deck, and that policy is that you cannot make a deck that mixes paper and professionally printed cards. And you have to have it sleeved. You would have to have that deck sleeved. So this deck is all paper. There is this card here which does have a back. It's the Candle Knight Underworld Warrior. Because that would make it unfair, you kind of see which card had that. You'd have to sleeve that. So if a deck is all white though, you can't see any of the, printed background cards, then it's fine. But if it does have that printed background card, then you can't do that. So for this case, I do have to sleeve this deck, but here is an example of a deck that would not need any sleeving, It's not, there's no custom colorful backgrounds, it's just the same thing. And another thing is, you don't have to sleeve decks that have the same, type of card. So for example, here's a deck of real cards, or more professionally printed cards. As you can see, it does not have any white or normal cards, I guess. This deck is obviously all like crazy cards, but you would not have to sleeve that up because it does not mix paper and professional. But if you were to have this whole set of white, paper cards, and then you were to bring in like a random real card, now you'd have to sleeve it because if there's a mix, there can never be a mix if you want to keep your deck unsleeved. So that's the basics, but I will address some questions now that I get with the deck sleeving and what to sleeve and what not to sleeve. So, I have a huge selection of sleeves right here. Huge selection. And I'm just going to go over a few because they're kind of the most accessible options in my opinion. Some of them range in price though. So the most expensive one is definitely these dragon sleeve, or dragon shield sleeves. They come in a box. I'm gonna get that box. Dragon Shield, that's what the logo looks like. They have a website. I think it's just dragonshield.com, I'm not sure. Those are definitely the best sleeves. That's what we're going to be sleeving this deck that I have here with today. They feel really good. The matte ones feel the best. And then I think if the best ones to make sure that cheating doesn't happen are the dual matte, but those might cost even more. So right now I think a pack of these goes for $15 to $20, but it comes with 100, meaning you could make possibly 3 decks if you didn't, or like 2 40 card decks and still have some sleeves left over. So it's kind of expensive, but it comes with a lot, so it's kind of worth it. It is worth it, in my opinion. Anyway, that's definitely a more expensive approach, but for the not as willing to spend that much money on sleeves on their deck, I have other options, or I am recommending other options. Well, not even recommending, just showing off other options. Because, yeah. So, here are Pokemon sleeves. Make sure, oh yeah, and this goes with every sleeve. Obviously, you have to use the same color or appearance of every sleeve, so I couldn't just have all these and then have this one sleeve in here. That wouldn't be fair, so nothing like that. But here I have a ton of Celestial Storm Rayquaza sleeves. They look nice, but I actually would rank them the lowest because they break all the time. They kind of, in my opinion, they're the cheapest out of all the three things that I'm reviewing. And then we have, these are Ultra Pro deck protectors, I think. It says Ultra Pro on them, but I'm pretty sure they're deck protectors. I would definitely rank these a step above Pokemon, and if you're looking for like a middle, this is the middle. I don't even know what the sleeve this is from. It kind of reminds me of a Dragon Shield sleeve. They feel kind of similar. Anyway, so I do have two decks made with the two different types of sleeves. These aren't Donk decks, they're Pokemon card decks, but you'll be able to get the idea. Here's a Pokemon card deck. These sleeves, I don't know. Sometimes they up their game with their sleeves. And they definitely did that with these ones. These are Astral Radiance sleeves. They're amazing, in my opinion. They're on the quality of, they're like half quality of Dragon Shield. But most of the other Pokemon sleeves are not this great. But if you're looking for the best quality Pokemon sleeves, definitely these ones. I've had the most experience and fun with these ones. They feel great. They have a nice shine to them. Alright. Obviously not Donk cards, but actually it's a very similar thing. I think these are Dragon Shield. Yeah, they're Dragon Shield sleeves. And they're the dual matte. So you see on this card, there's black lining. That isn't from the card, it's actually from the sleeve. So those are the dual matte. They're great. Amazing in my opinion. Again, these cards are really easy to shuffle. Really, really easy. So for people that have a lot of decks that require shuffling, that have a lot of cards that would require shuffling your deck, definitely the best. In my opinion, they're the best on everything. And I really recommend you get them, but they're kind of expensive. So, the price breakdown, usually you can find a pack of Pokemon sleeves for $3 to $4, maybe $5 on eBay. You can't, it's a lot more expensive to find them in stores because unless you're buying like individually like packaged packets, these sleeves that I have here were from Elite Trainer boxes. But those are like $50 to $60, and with all the rage that Pokemon is getting right now, I would expect someone would have to pay more than that. So I buy the sleeves online from like eBay or something. You could probably even get 2 packets for under $10. I don't even know how much these deck protectors are, but they're definitely less than Dragon Shields. They probably have like 60, maybe 100. Not sure. Anyway, I recommend these ones the best, the Dragon Shields. They're amazing. And then, so yeah, once again, you can't have varying sleeves in your deck, so you couldn't have like this going on, even though it's like majority are the same. There's still two different ones, and that's not allowed. So there's kind of a lot of restrictions on your deck, but it makes a lot of sense, and it's a lot better to play with sleeves. Shuffling your deck, you wouldn't damage your cards as much, or even at all, when you have sleeves. Now to sleeve a deck, there are more restrictions, sadly. So here I have a normal card. If I were to sleeve it, it'd just be normal. You just put this card into the sleeve. That's for professionally printed cards only. You can only do that with professionally printed cards. But every other card, for example, paper, actually every paper card, you would have to take an actual trading card. I have Pokemon cards. Put it behind with the back side up. The paper card right behind it. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then you take the sleeve and then put both of those in there. So it's the same thickness as the trading card. So these two cards right here are the same thickness. Nothing's different. It doesn't feel different, and you can't see any difference. But if you don't use the Pokemon card, this one feels so much lighter, so much lighter, and it's easy to tell. And another thing is, in the competitive events, I will be checking. Well, at least I'll have multiple people checking decks to make sure that no one's cheating, because this is considered cheating when you don't have. When they feel different, it's considered cheating. So keep that in mind. If you don't have any Pokemon cards, which I totally get, I actually will be bringing probably at least 500 to maybe 600 Pokemon cards to the event, and you can use them for your deck. Yeah, I'm not trying to limit people on making decks. So anyway, I'm just gonna sleeve up this deck. I'm gonna see if I can get this under 20 minutes. So, card, Pokemon card, sleeve. And sometimes the paper cards might be a bit too wide. If you tell me that at the event, I will probably just give you another card. Or I might have scissors. If you're concerned about the condition or the quality of your paper cards, then I might just give you another paper card. I'm not, yeah, again, let me say that one more time so it's a bit more clear. If a paper card is too wide for a sleeve, and you're completely sure it's too wide, you haven't, like for example, if this card cannot fit inside a sleeve, I will give you a new card, but the chance of it being too wide is really low, because a lot of sleeves are, a decent bit larger than the card, than a normal sized card. So, but if that issue arises, just tell me. I'm here to help. And Yeah, Donk is nice because you can use whatever size decks that you want. So really, if you bought Dragon Shield sleeves at 100 count, you could make 5 20-card decks with that amount. Or you could make 2 40-card decks, or you could make 3 30-card decks and still have 10 left. I mean, it's all up to you. Personally, making a deck with all professional cards is kind of difficult right now, since there's not that many cards out there. Especially the ones that would need to be used in a lot of decks. So, I understand if... But this is why I'm making this video, because it's so difficult to do that. And also because the event pack is all paper, and the promos that we're handing out are all paper, and a lot of stuff is paper, but I'm promoting all these professional cards, and people are like, what's going on? So, yep. So yeah. If anyone's wondering, there are cards that you cannot use in decks, but I think I cover that in how to make a deck, or tips how to make a deck, or whatever it is. So I would watch that video if you're interested in that. I'm glad to see the daily card reviews have been doing nice, decent. Tonight I'll be uploading 5 more, just to count out for the week that I missed. Trying to be as consistent as possible, but a lot of times school takes a priority. I hope you can understand. I will, once again, the Donk event, the first Donk event, is on April 19th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So, depending on how the event goes, we might be in the sun, because it seems like it'll be a popular day there, and I have a feeling that we will not get the shaded area, the shaded tables, and to make up for that, I will be bringing my own tables. I might bring an umbrella for me, but for people that challenge me, they will be shielded by the umbrella. I'm hoping it's a windy day. This week has been kind of hot, or last week was definitely hot. So there will be a lot of tables, definitely enough seating. So yeah, check it out. I will be making a new event, or there will be another event next month. I'm pretty sure that that one will probably have more people than this one, since Easter isn't the day after, on the May 1. That one is on the 18th, May 18th, from the same time of day, so 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. I was going to make it earlier, but obviously there's stuff going on in my life. Not obviously, but there is just stuff going on in my life. And Mother's Day is that weekend as well, the weekend before, so can't miss that. Alright, we're finishing up on the deck. I will be using this deck as well. For people that want to challenge me, it's worth it. It's actually really worth it. If you beat me, you like get 10 wins. It counts as 10 wins towards your account. But you can only challenge me once during the event. So keep that in mind. It's kind of fun. I've been playing a lot of games recently. I just introduced a new person to the game. I introduced someone who plays Dungeons and Dragons to the game, and I say it's a nice game. So so I'm pretty confident. The Discord's starting to become more active. The first guild was created today. And yeah, visit my website. Definitely where the most stuff is announced. Also, this YouTube channel is another good way to get information, but anyway, so I hope this video helps. Yeah, the rule where you have to put Pokemon cards with your paper cards. Do not forget that. If I find anyone cheating the system, you will get a penalty. It'll be different from later events. From later events, you'll get heavily penalized, and you probably won't be invited for a couple of events afterwards. Keep that in mind. Please don't cheat. Yeah. Alright, one more card, 2 more cards. Yeah, so if you're interested in buying the Dragon Shield sleeves, I mean, in a few days, it'll be too late to buying them online. Dragon Shield sleeves are available at the nearest GameStop to the park. So, I couldn't tell you the distance, but right next to Pokemon Park is a Winco, and right next to Winco is a GameStop. Alright, here's the whole deck, all sleeved up. To prove that they're good, I might do a little shuffling. I recently just got my own sleeves, like custom-made sleeves. The other shuffling. Really nice. These sleeves are very durable. I definitely recommend it if you're willing to spend the money to make a nice deck or decks. So yeah, that's today's larger video. Have a good day.